Here.
Welcome. Mr. Weddleton, are you here today?
Here.
Welcome. Either Mayor Berkowitz or Mr. Schutte, either of you on the line.
Good afternoon. This is Chris Schutte.
Mr. Schutte, good to hear from you again. And Ms. Heil.
Present.
Present. Okay. I think we have a quorum, and I believe we do. So, Craig, if you would please do the public involvement announcement.
Yes, sir. The AMATS committee meetings are open to the public, and the public is always invited to comment. If we have a business item, we'll have presentation by staff or a consultant. And then after that, the committee will be given a chance to discuss the item. And then after that, the public will be invited to comment. The procedure nowadays is that we allow people the opportunity to contact us up until 6:30 the day before, just so we can work out the logistics. And they're also doing a Teams live broadcast of this. And so people are able to follow along on Teams Live and work the chat there if they express an interest in contacting us and commenting. So we'll make sure to monitor that.
All right. Thank you, Craig.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have an approval of the agenda?
So
Move to
moved.
approve.
This is Schutte.
Second, this is Cindy Heil.
Okay, moved by Mr. Schutte, seconded by Ms. Heil. Do we have any changes to the agenda? All right. Hearing none, are there any objections to adopting the agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Okay, for agenda item 4, we have before us minutes of May 28th, 2020, June 26th, 2020, and July 23rd, 2020 for approval. Do we have a motion on these minutes?
So move, Zalato.
Second,
Moved by-
Schutte.
Moved by Ms. Zalatel, seconded by Mr. Schutte. Thank you. Any changes or discussions to the minutes? Hearing none, any objections to approving the minutes? All right, well, hearing none, the May 28th, 2020, June 26th, 2020, and July 23rd, 2020 minutes are approved as submitted. So, all right, that moves us on into the action items. Moving on to agenda item 5A, the 2019-2022 TIP and Transportation Improvement Program, Amendment number 1, Air Quality Conformance Determination Memo. Craig, will you please present the information?
Yes, I'll start, and I think Mr. Stanchik is on the line if we want to get into the details, and obviously Cindy will always be able to help clarify things for us on that. Anytime we do an amendment or a full TIP or an amendment to the MTP or the full MTP, we always have to do the air quality conformity determination first to make sure it conforms, because if it doesn't conform, then we can't do the amendment. So in this case, this is, as per usual, we have the air quality conformity determination up first. In this case, we meaning me, had an error, and I neglected to. I thought the projects that were being added or the changes that we were making in the TIP were things that were not requiring the air quality conformity determination because they were exempt. Safety projects are exempt. Projects that are outside of the places we have to do our air quality analysis for the CO and the PM10 are exempt. And so I made a mistake on that and forgot to request the air quality conformity determination in time to do a 30-day public comment release. So we did not get that. We did have a consultation team meeting yesterday, and the solution that the team came up with was we have one project that's in this proposed amendment that would require the conformity analysis and a new conformity analysis to make sure all of the things that we're requesting don't blow the budget for, in layman's terms, in terms of the air quality. The project that would trigger it is the addition of the Academy Vanguard project. That's a project that is shown for, I think, $3 million in 2021 for the beginning of that project for the design. If we were to remove that project from this particular amendment, then we have agreement from the air quality interagency consultation team that we can go forward with this amendment as it is, and it would not trigger a conformity analysis, a new conformity analysis. And so because it is 2021 money that we were looking at for that, we're pretty confident we can put out an amendment starting probably in November timeframe. It might be a little tight to get it done in October, but November, and still get the funds for the 2021 projected start, so it shouldn't delay it at all. So I guess our proposal is to remove that project from this amendment, an addition of that project to this amendment, and we should be able to go forward. So that's my take on it. And either Cindy or Matt, if you want to clarify that, because that's not my area of expertise, feel free.
Well, this is Cindy, and I would say that you pretty much, you categorized it pretty good, but we'll have to do a slight order change because the federal rules require us to approve an air quality conformity before an amendment, but we can't do the air quality conformity until the amendment has been, we've removed the project from the amendment. So that the interagency consultation was very clear that only could we move forward with it was if we formally remove the project from the amendment one from the 2019 to 2022. So my suggestion would be we would table 5A for the moment, go to 5B, do the whole thing, amend that amendment, but not fully approve it until we then come back to the air quality conformity, approve the air quality conformity, and then finalize the approval of the amendment to move to federal highways. So it's kind of sticky, but we have to amend the amendment before we can do the air quality conformity.
Cindy, one quick question. This project was included on MOA's tip previously, and I assume that was covered under previous conformity determinations. Is there a reason that it doesn't?
Well, it's what it's out. It was out for public comment, and it was recommended by the technical advisory committee. So what you're doing is this amendment 1 includes that project and as a recommendation from the technical advisory committee. So that recommendation needs to be changed so that it's in its final. It has to be in its final form without the project before we can approve it, the conformity.
No, I understand the process or the steps we're trying to achieve here. I thought that this project had already been in the tip previously under previous approved tip amendments, and so that fell under the conformity previously already. It's not a new project, in other words. Is that your understanding, or am I thinking of it wrong?
That would be Craig would have to tell you what that is.
Mr. Chair, a couple of things. One, I don't believe this particular project was in here exactly like this. So I don't think the determination has been made on this. And then also you have questions from both of our assembly members. They're raising them in the chat. They'd like to ask questions.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out where I see them raising their hand. Sure, somewhere there. Craig, maybe you can help me out. Do you see their hands raised somehow?
I see in the chat, in the meeting chat, they both have asked, or Q, please, they have asked. So both Ms. Zalatel and Mr. Weddleton have questions on this.
All right, well, Ms. Zalatel, why don't you go ahead with your question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is, I heard Mr. Lyon say it shouldn't delay this particular project for design, but is there a possibility of delay going through the explained process here? Because there are some community concerns about delays to this project because they want it as tightly sequenced with the highway improvement project in the area as well.
Well, yeah, so I guess I said shouldn't just because, you know, you never know when something like a pandemic will get in your way and throw things off. You know, all we have to do is have an amendment and approve it. And the current process is to have a public review and then send it through you folks at the assembly level. And it's just the amount of time it takes to get to the assembly. Obviously, it took a lot longer to get this amendment through the assembly than we were originally planning because of your, you know, you had other more controversial items that took us 4 meetings instead of the usual 1. I don't expect that to occur again. And we have until, you know, the fiscal year goes through September 30th. So typically we want to get something approved by August. I should think that we can get another amendment approved by August of 2021. That's why I said should. I don't want to guarantee things, but if that answers your question.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
And Mr. Weddleton, you said, I think you had your hand up as well.
Yeah, so listening to Cindy very carefully, I hope. So it sounds like, should we reorder the agenda or move on to a B? It sounds like the motion would be to remove project RDY 00013 for Academy Vanguard. But if we do that, now we have money floating out there that is unattributed. So if we have to have a completed tip, do we have to, like today, park that money somewhere temporarily?
Mr. Chair, so my suggestion would be to move that, I guess to borrow your phrase, Mr. Weddleton, to park that in payment replacement, in the payment replacement category, knowing that we will be moving it back into the Academy Vanguard project as soon as we get the next amendment finalized. And just park it over there for a short period of time.
Okay, so that would be part of the amendment then, to delete that project and put the funds in parking or pavement replacement.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
So my suggestion was that a motion be made to just do exactly what Mr. Weldon said, and then not do anything more regarding the amendment 1, and then going back and approving the conformity, and then following through and doing the complete process for the amendment 1, the amended of amendment 1. Just for order, after all the public comment we get to.
All right, so there's a lot of moving pieces here. Let me make sure I've got it on the right page, Craig, and you let me know if I'm wrong, or Cindy. So we're going to go ahead and table item 5A for now. We're going to move on to item 5B, where we will amend the TIP amendment by removing the project and reallocating those available funds into payment replacement. We'll go through the process with 5B, then we'll circle back to 5A.
No. That's all you do on 5B is just that one edit. Okay. Because you have to approve the conformity before you do a full approval of the amendment 1.
Okay. So we
before
go to
you
5B,
pass them.
Yep. Right. So we just do that one piece, and we go back to 5A.
And then we can do that. Then we can do 5A because then it is just normal. And then we go back to 5B, and it's like, you know, that one project has been removed, the money's been parked. So now we deal with all the rest of the amendments. And then if after comment, you know, and discussion, if it's approved by the policy, it's approved.
Okay. So, do we need a motion to table 5A for now, or do I just go ahead and make it so?
I think we need a motion.
Okay. Is there a motion to table 5A, please?
This is Cindy Heil. I move that we table 5A until small modification to 5B is completed.
Second.
Shooty seconds.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any objections? Okay, the motion's approved. So we're going to table 5A for the moment, and we're going to move on to item 5B, the 2019-2022 Transportation Improvement Plan Amendment 1. Craig, will you please give us a quick overview, and we'll accomplish what Ms. Heil just articulated.
Yeah, just real quickly, I think folks are well aware of what we had in the tip. We had it out for the public review. When it came back, it went through the assembly and they did not make any changes to it. So it is back before you for final approval today. I will remind you that we do have the really time crunch one of the funding for the public transit department's route restructure. So they're adding a new route in that they want to get moving on right away. And so that's kind of why there's the time crunch. Otherwise, we would just delay this whole thing, the amendment in full, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But that just absolutely needs to get moving now so they don't lose those FTA funds. It's outside of our allocation, but it has to be in the tip. So if we could right now just make the motion to do the delay on the Academy Vanguard and move that $3 million that's in design funding for in 2021 and move that into pavement replacement, and then make that change, then we'll go back. So if you have any other questions on the rest of the tip amendment, I can answer them now or when we come back for the final approval.
All right, well, why don't we come back to that for final approval? Do I have a motion to amend the tip amendment by removing the project and reallocating funds, please?
Sure, I'd move to remove project RPY 00013 for Academy Vanguard and to move the funds to RDY 00012 paper replacement.
Second, this is Cindy Heil.
Okay, all right, Cindy Heil has a second. Any comments or questions from the committee on the motion? What is the will of the committee then?
How do we vote?
Is there anyone who does not want to approve this amendment? How about that? Okay, hearing none, motion to amend the amendment is approved. We're going to now table 5B temporarily and move back to 5A to complete our air conformity determination. Craig, do you want to just recap real quick where we're at with regard to that?
Yeah, so now we have a conformity determination that does not, the analysis for this tip amendment does not require a new conformity determination. And that is in agreement, it was agreed to by the interagency consultation team, which includes EPA and FHWA and FTA. So they are in agreement with that, that move. So we're ready to move on this, I guess.
Okay. Questions from or comments from the committee on this air conformity determination? Okay. Hearing none. Are there any comments from the public? Remind the public they have 3 minutes to speak. And Aaron, I will let you tell me when we've waited the appropriate amount of time for public.
Sounds good. I'll give it about 30, 45 seconds to see if anyone comments. Thank you.
Yes. You are the official timer. Thank you.
While we wait 45 seconds, this is Mr. Constant. I won't be able to stick around through the meeting. I have a conflicting meeting, and I just wanted to express the deep and sincere thanks of the Fairview community for finally awarding the PEL project to HDR. And just, you know, where there has been tension, it's always good to say thank you, and thank you is on the table.
I appreciate it, Mr. Constance. We're all paced in those negotiations. We should have a contract underway soon.
Thank you. Very excited.
Okay, there are no comments or questions regarding action item 5A from the public.
There are no
This is Cindy
questions.
Heil. I move to approve 5A, the approval of the conformity for the CHIP Amendment 1. As a
Second, Salatow.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and seconded. Are there any objections to approving the motion? All right, hearing none, the motion is approved. So now we will move on once again to item 5B, the 2019-2022 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment 1 as amended. Craig, do you want to recap this real quick, please?
Just real quickly, we're ready to move forward with the projects that are in that amendment. So minus the Academy Vanguard funding moved over to PAM replacement. So it's a long process, and we're glad to be at the tail end of it.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, hearing none. Any questions or comments from the public? Again, we have 3 minutes to speak. And again, Aaron, I will let you be the timekeeper on this one.
Okay, this is Aaron. It appears that there are no questions or comments on 5B that is coming.
Okay. What is the will of the committee?
Weddleton, move to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Kyle,
Shooty,
second.
second.
Well, Cindy's already seconded a few times. Should we just give this one to Mr. Shooty?
That's fine.
All right.
My second average is going down for this meeting, so I love it.
First second of the day. All right. Okay. This point, are there any amendments to this? Okay. I've got some items here I wanted to throw out there for discussion. I move to amend the motion on the floor to add the following projects to table 7 of the TIP. Under the pavement replacement projects, to add project number 1, Airport Heights Road, DeBar to Glen Highway. Project number 2, Boundary Avenue, Boniface Parkway to Oklahoma Street. Project number 6, Highland Road, milepost 0 to milepoint 3.2. Project number 7, Post Road, 3rd Avenue to Reeve Boulevard. Project number 10, Reeve Boulevard, 5th Avenue to Post Road. In the Pathways and Trails pavement replacement projects, add the following projects. Project number 2, DeBar Road, Boniface Parkway to Muldoon Road, South Side Sidewalk. Project number 3, Airport Heights Road, DeBar Road to Glen Highway. Project number 4, Northern Lights Boulevard, Lois Drive to Minnesota Drive, South Side Pathway. And project number 5, Jewel Lake Pathway, Raspberry Road to International Airport Road. Those are my amendments as stated. Is there any discussion?
Is this for 5C or 5B?
This is, I've got listed under 5B. Have I got the wrong agenda item here? Craig? Am I talking about?
Are you wanting to amend the TIP or the administrative, the major amendment or the administrative modification?
Amend the motion. This is for table 7 of the TIP. Maybe I've got this whole thing out of order, in which case
Yeah, that's a little late. Sorry.
You're right.
I mean, we've approved the conformity, which is just based on exactly what the interagency consultation looked at. So
okay. So I'm sorry. So I'm going to withdraw everything I just said, so you can strike that from the record. So we've got a moved and seconded, moved by Mr. Weddleton, seconded by Mr. Shooty. Are there any objections to approving the motion to amend? Okay. Hearing none, are there any objections to approving the original motion as amended? All right. Hearing none, the motion is approved. Craig, I think we're moving on to item 5C now.
I believe so.
All right, so 2019 to 2022 Transportation Improvement Program, Administrative Mod number 4. Craig, will you tell us about that?
Here we go. So these are some minor changes, basically. We have some additional funding needed in the O'Malley Road project to make sure we get that built. You know, you always get to the tail end and there tends to be a little more funding needed to finish some of those projects off. We are also, if you, yeah, you can see it on the screen, I think. We're balancing that with some changes in the payment replacement table. And then, Aaron, if you could scroll down a little bit more, I think I can do that. So under plans and studies, we had the TSMO, which is probably going to say this wrong. Is it up above? No, it's not. So the transportation systems management, it's a ITS sort of thing. I'm trying to find my regular chip to read that all off here. Transportation systems management and operations. It was a plan that was scheduled to go in 2020, along with the secondary streets deficiency analysis plan. We're obviously at the end of the federal fiscal year here, and we're not able to get those funds obligated in time. We had other things that cropped up that did not allow project managers to be ready to roll, and the TORAs and the RFPs and all that sort of stuff. So we're pushing those projects off for a year. In addition, we are also adding some money into the MTP as we looked at the information that goes in to feed our transportation model, our TransCAD model. We realized it was from 2013, kind of stale, and so we need to update the model. And this is about the little over the dollar figure that we had last time we updated it in 2013. So this is, we're adding in money to make sure we have as current a transportation model as we can. A reminder again that the transportation model is just one of the many things that we use to update our MTP, but it makes sense that it has the latest and greatest information that we can have, and that's not stuff from 2013. So that's the additional funding there, and we're balancing those additional projects over there with the money out of the payment replacement. So TAC met on this 2 weeks ago and recommended approval of that. So we're asking you to approve the administrative modification number 4. Does not require a public comment period. So it's ready to be approved today if you are so inclined.
All right, thank you, Craig. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Yeah, Weddleton.
Mr. Weddleton, go ahead.
Okay. So regarding your amendments, is that something that is could fit into an administrative modification? Your additions to the payment replacement and so on?
Mr. Weddleton, I'm going to phone a friend real quick here. Mr. Starzak, can you maybe give us your insight real quick on the TIP amendment, table 7, items that I listed earlier?
Yes. Through the chair, can you hear me?
Nice.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. My understanding that additions to table 7 are appropriate in the admin mod, and so I assume that they would be just as appropriate in the amendment. I can see with the question on the conformity call why that would be probably better than an optimal idea. So I think that it's perfectly fine to do it through the admin modification. But Craig, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, my understanding is if you're adding or deleting a project, it's an amendment. You know, our plan is to get to the point where we don't have the table with the projects listed out for the payment replacement in the tip, but it would be an appendix in the tip, and therefore what we would show in the tip is the dollar figure for total payment replacement. But that's my understanding. You're adding new projects, then it has to be a major amendment. But
I'm fairly certain that we've done this in the past with table 7, because you're not changing a project that is that's in the funded tables. This is just a list of potential projects. We don't even have to do these projects.
Well, that
But
is
they're
true.
available
It's a
to be
list-
done.
Yeah, that is true. It is a list of potential projects. That's a good point. Aaron, how about we ask, I'm going to ask just to pick on Aaron just a little bit. What are your thoughts on that? Because I think that the idea that it's a potential project is something that I hadn't considered before.
I guess my only thing is that we've put this out for the public for them to comment on. And if we're going to be adding these in kind of last minute, it kind of goes around the whole idea of putting these out for the public to see. In terms of if this is doable or not, in the past we've done it. However, DOT headquarters has made significant changes to our process for admin mods and amendments. So I don't actually know how they would view this because we have not yet moved the table outside of the tip itself. So while it's technically not part of one of our fiscally constrained tables for AMATs, it is still part of the tip. And DOT headquarters viewpoint is anything in the tip tables is subject to these admin mod and amendment rules.
I guess to add a little bit to that, I think you both make some sense. My thought is we could probably make an argument that you could do this kind of stuff in an administrative modification. But I think adding it on the floor might be not the most transparent process.
Mr. Chair, may I offer an idea?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Sheedy.
Yes, you did. I remember you, David.
Go ahead.
Shoot or Weddleton?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Wells.
Okay, we are going to put forward a tip amendment for the Academy Vanguard. Can you perhaps just add your amendment to that so that they go out as one bunch, follow the same process?
Craig, is that something we could accommodate?
Well, we certainly could. I just don't know whether that would cause any delay with what DOT is looking to do with the pavement replacement stuff. I mean, if it's not, then we certainly could do it that way. I don't know the lead times on pavement replacement stuff and how long you guys ramp up on that and do design and all that sort of stuff. So.
Through the chair?
Through the chair.
Okay.
Man.
Go ahead.
Yes, James
Starzik again.
I just wanted to point
out that every one of the projects that are
being added back
onto the tip here
have previously
been in the tip. Currently is admin mod 2.
And really what
we're doing is a housekeeping maneuver to correct a mistake that was made when they were taken off inadvertently during admin mod 3.
Hey,
So
James, Aaron, are you on the phone and the Teams? Because you are echoing really badly.
Yeah,
my apologies. I am on phone and on Teams. Is that fine?
Yeah, can you mute one, please? And then we will be able to hear, because it was really hard to hear what you were saying.
I thought that I did. I'll make sure to make sure to unplug it all together.
Okay, James, so if I captured what you were saying, right, these are housekeeping issues that you think might better fall under an administrative modification. Is that correct?
Just a minute, okay?
Yes, as I said, all of these projects were in admin mod 2. When we did admin mod 3, for one reason or another, they were not included on the tables, and this would just reverse that action and put them back on. Some of these projects are already been obligated and are in design. And so if they're not on the table, though, they can't move, as my understanding, you can't move them into the next phase. So it's reasonable to get them back into the tip.
Craig, would you agree that this is an administrative in nature and not a brand new project start that's never been seen before?
That's a good point. Yeah, probably.
Okay, why don't we move to this discussion or comments by the committee on this issue? Do I have any concerns or comments? Meg Zalatel, I believe I'm seeing that you have your hand up.
No, Mr. Chair, my question was from way before.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just catching up. Does anybody else have any questions before we enter into discussion on whether this is an administrative mod or not? Okay. So any discussion on whether this would fall under an administrative modification? Any discussion at all?
I guess I'd make clear then that if I understood Mr. Starzak right, it was this was in administrative modification 1, which was approved, and somehow it got removed in a later modification, and we're simply correcting that error.
That's my understanding. Mr. Starzak, is that what you were saying earlier?
Through the chair.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It was in admin mod 2, and then we added some projects during admin mod 3, and when that occurred, the table was updated to show only the projects that were being added, and the previous projects had inadvertently been removed.
Okay. Are there any concerns by the committee in moving forward with this as an administrative modification then?
Chair, I don't have a worry with that, but what about the funding then? We've added a lot of projects. Is the funding okay?
Craig, are we still good with the balance?
Yeah, so the way the funding in payment replacement works is, we have a total number there that we have in table 2 roadway or table 3 non-motorized. And then the table 7 that James is referring to lists a whole bunch of projects that we might do. And that's really the only place they're listed is there. So as far as I know, I don't think they're listed in this STIP. It's just the listing of possible payment replacement projects in no particular order and no years given to them either. So it's just a way of saying, we might start on this one, etc. So I think, it's the dollar figure is what they have to draw from, which is obviously a moving target. But the list of payment replacement projects in table 7 is such that allows the department the flexibility to choose the one that's ripest, or, the dollar figures will fit. If that answers your question, hopefully.
Is that good, Mr. Weddleton?
Thank you. Don't go spending that Academy Vanguard money though.
No, sir.
Right. Any other questions from the committee or comments? Okay. Any other questions or comments from the committee relative to the overall administrative mod that Craig's presented? Okay. Right now, are there any comments from the public? Again, 3 minutes to speak. And again, Aaron, I'll let you keep the 45-second timer or whatever you think is appropriate. Aaron, what say you?
We just got to the point of the teams live asking for comments, so just give it a second. But so far, nobody has made mention of wanting to provide a comment.
Okay. Well, we will move forward. What is the will of the committee on administrative modification number 4 as presented by Mr. Lyons?
Weddleton moves to approve.
Second, Zalatel.
Not sure what happened. I think we're all still here. Mr. Young, you are on mute. There we go.
There we go. Well, that gave me a chance to practice. That's great. Okay, I apologize. Been a long week. Anyway, at this point, I'd like to, we've got a motion to approve by Mr. Welton, a second by Ms. Littell. I'd like to move to amend the motion on the floor to add the following projects to table 7 of the tip. In the pavement replacement projects, I'd like to add project number 1, Airport Heights Road, DeBarg Road to Glen Highway. Project number 2, Boundary Avenue, Boniface Parkway to Oklahoma Street. Project number 6, Highland Road, milepost 0 to milepost 3.2. Project number 7, Post Road, 3rd Avenue to Reef Boulevard. Project number 10, Reef Boulevard, 5th Avenue to Post Road. In the pavement replacement projects, I'd like to add project number 2, DeBar Road, Boniface Parkway to Muldoon Road, South Side Sidewalk. Project number 3, Airports Hyatt Road, DeBar Road to Glen Highway. Project number 4, Northern Lights Boulevard, Lois Drive to Minnesota Drive, South Side Pathway. And project number 5, Jewel Lake Pathway, Raspberry Road to International Airport Road. Are there any objections to adding these to table 7 of the tip? Are there any objections to approving the motion?
I don't know, this is Weddleton. I had a question on this. So I'm kind of looking through here at kind of the earlier one. So on administrative modification 1, table 7. Did you restore everything that was on there? It sounds like for the pathway and trail replacement project, you add, if there's on the administrative 1, there's a project 1, 20th Ave sidewalk for Goss Street to Kishla. Was that on your list?
I'm working off a list from administrative admin mod number 2. That's the list I'm coming off of. You're looking at number 1, Mr. Weddleton?
Yeah, I just wanted, so okay, so 2. Is your intent just to restore what was on 2 and then got dropped off on 3?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you, Mr. Weddleton. Can you repeat that?
Oh, sure. So I just want to see if the intent of your amendment is to restore the projects that were on administrative modification 2, but then got dropped off inadvertently in 3.
That is correct. And those are the projects I've listed off. I think I have a complete listing, but if you think otherwise, let me know.
Well, I'm not sure. That's on the pathway and trail pavement replacement projects. Do you have project 1, the 20th Ave sidewalk?
Mr. Sarsdek, do you have a copy of admin mod number 2 you can pull up and see if we did miss that one?
Yeah, through the chair, that project, we had put that through a scoping and decided not to go forward with that one. So I didn't feel the need to add it back in. But if it's the will of the committee to add the full complement of projects that were removed, you can certainly do so.
Mr. Chair, I would recommend that because our rationale for doing this under the modification is that we're simply correcting something that it happened inadvertently.
Okay, I
and
agree
if
with
all
that.
of these projects, you don't have to do one, didn't work out.
Okay, can you give us the title again, Mr. Weddleton, of the 20th Avenue one?
Okay, now this is the only one I caught. There may be others. This is for the pathway and trail pavement replacement projects. It's project 1, 20th Avenue sidewalk dash for Goss Street to Kishla Park.
Okay. All right. Any comments from the committee on adding that additional one? This would be reflective of administrative mod number 2, correct, Mr. Weddleton?
Yes. Well, I wonder, can you go through your amendment again? Because now that I've got amendment 2 up, I can, as you go through, I can look.
Right. So I listed off 4 projects: the DeBar Avenue, the Airport Heights, the Northern Lights, and the Jewel Lake. The 5th one I did not list, and that's the one you just spoke to, 20th Avenue sidewalk, Goss Street to Kishla Park. So
okay, how about the pavement replacement though on the top table?
Okay. Pavement replacement. I spoke to projects number 1, number 2, number 6, number 7, and number 10. Mr. Starzyk, was there a reason we didn't replace all the remaining ones on that list?
Through the chair.
I'm sorry, I'm still trying to make sure I'm not echoing. I believe I got it now.
So project 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, and 11 were not listed as being put back into the administrative mod. Do they still exist on that list, James?
Projects 3, 4, and 8, I believe, have been completed. Number 5 remained in the table.
Number 5 remains. Okay, so that accounts for number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But again,
what about?
I mean, if we want to just make this clean, we can add all of them. It doesn't really affect the affect anything.
Well, that would probably be cleaner from a public perception perspective. We're just replacing what was previously approved in the modification number 2 and dropped off inadvertently in mod number 3. Mr. Welton, do you have any objection to that?
No, I think that's what I was fishing for. Thanks.
Okay.
I don't know if that's how you phrase it, or do you want to make your amendment and then do a second one that adds these projects? It sounds like a reasonable amendment just to say we restore the projects that were dropped off.
I completely agree. Why don't we just make the amendment that we restore the projects previously listed under admin modification number 2, table 7, that were dropped off from on mod number 3 back into mod number 4. Is there any objection to that motion?
Yeah, second.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think that's the cleanest. Okay. Are there any objections to approving the overall motion as amended? All right. Hearing none, the motion is approved. Craig, I believe that completes item 5C.
I believe so.
Okay. We're going to move on to item 5D, the AMATS Freight Advisory Committee bylaws update. Craig, will you please give us a rundown on this?
I will. So, Freight Committee bylaws. The committee's been around for a little while. We have some relatively minor tweaks for the most part. Wait for that plane to fly over your head, Mr. Chair. There's some relatively minor tweaks that we're addressing here. We did not have in the bylaws that they could have electronic meetings, so we're doing that. The major change that had some discussion at the TAC related to the last seat listed, and that is it was originally a public member seat. When the Freight Committee was first created, we had shippers and haulers and air cargo delivery folks and the Port of Alaska, the railroad, etc. And we added a seat that was listed as a public member seat to reflect an addition of some entity that received a lot of freight as opposed to one that delivered a lot of freight. And so we added regional manager at Fred Meyers, and they were a great addition for a while. They moved on to another job, and we were very challenged to find someone to fill that kind of position of someone who receives a lot of freight. Costco was not interested in joining our happy little gang, and most of the other places also said the same thing. So somewhere along the way, Teresa Brewer, who was managing that Freight Committee as a senior planner, suggested that we should look at what our member of the Policy Committee had suggested, and that was Patrick Flynn, who was on the Policy Committee in the Assembly at the time, and he was commented several times that we need to take into account not only have freight moves around Anchorage, but how the long tour buses move around Anchorage. And so there was a suggestion to add someone from Princess Tours into that tourism or the public seat. And we have done that, and they've been a great addition to the committee. In the discussion at the freight committee, they suggested we change the seat from a public member to a tourism seat, reflecting also the fact that in the FAST Act, one of the planning factors relates to tourism. So it's another thing that we need to be looking at, along with safety and congestion and connectivity, et cetera. So that was the proposed change originally. When this came before the Technical Advisory Committee, they moved to change change it from a public seat to tourism, as staff had suggested, to instead of that to be an at-large member and allow the committee that flexibility. So it should be before you today with the recommendation from the TAC to make it a at-large position. I think that was the total discussion at the TAC. So happy to answer questions on those bylaw changes or the discussion at the TAC.
All right, thank you, Craig. Any questions or comments from the committee on this subject?
I do. Just a clarification, Craig. The TAC did that, made that change from tourism to public at large due to comments they received. Is that correct?
Well, we did receive some comments from the Turnagain Community Council, which I think all members of both the TAC and the policy committee got, where they suggested to leave it a public member, and actually the Turnagain Community Council thought that the community council should be on there. So we've always thought of this committee as a technical committee offering technical expertise on freight issues. So it did bubble up originally from the idea of changing to something besides a tourism member, bubbled up from the community councils and Turnagain Community Council specifically, but the discussion to move to tourism was a couple different ways.
Oh, I understand that. Thank you.
Okay.
I knew it was why it came up from tourism, but they didn't recommend a tourist position, a tourist named position, but a member at large position because
no,
of
technical advisory committee suggested instead of changing it from public member to tourism, to change it from public member to at large, member at large.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or questions from the committee?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this is Chris Schutte.
Yes, Chris.
Thank you. Questions for Craig, for staff. What's the current quantity of members?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11.
Okay, so it's a nice odd number. All right, thank you. The reason I was asking, Mr. Chairman, is just I did not attend the TAC, so I don't know what the conversation was like, but I know that because of the transportation of passengers, which is kind of like freight, the input from tourism, particularly from motor coach companies, is valuable in this discussion as well. So I was just curious if we had room to perhaps recommend that we grow the size of that group, but if it's at 11 already, it's pretty big.
I agree. Any other questions or comments from the committee?
Yeah, Weddleton.
Yes, Mr. Weddleton.
So Craig, are all of these seats filled, or do you have certain ones hard to fill?
They are all filled right now. The tourism member has been the same for about 4 or 5 years. And I will tell you this, the addition of the ability to have these electronically have given us the ability to have a quorum, which we've been challenged to have a quorum for a while. So our academic member from UAA has been a challenge to get, probably with the classes they teach, etc. But otherwise, we have 11 seats and they're full, and having meetings electronically has made our quorum a possibility, which it hasn't been for a while.
So
All right.
following up a bit, so is there, I mean, if you could say ad hoc, you can certainly invite someone with tour buses. You know, you leave it much more open.
Yeah, if you change it to an at-large member, you know, if the policy committee decides we want a different, someone representing that at large instead of the person from the tour company in there, it's certainly available to do that. If you change it to specifically tourism member, it's a little trickier. So I think at large is a good compromise, I guess.
Okay.
All right,
So,
any other comments? Mr. Weddleton, was that all you had?
yeah, I was just thinking, so I'm saying, okay, I'm ready to make a motion, but that's not quite how we do it, right? We have the public topic and then do it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to go to the public now, so. All right, last call for any comments or questions from the committee. Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to any comments from the public. Again, you have 3 minutes to speak, and Aaron, I will let you start the clock, and please advise when we should move forward.
So this is Aaron. There appears to be no comments or questions showing up on the Teams Live.
Okay. So being that is the case, what is the will of the committee? Do I have a motion for approval?
This is Chris Schutte. I move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Littleton, second. Are there any questions to approving the motion?
I'd move to amend section 2.1K to read at large member.
And this is Schutte. I would second that.
Okay. So any comments or questions from the committee on the proposed amendment?
May the amendment be restated, please?
On section 2.1 membership part K, change it to read at large member.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions on the amendment to the motion? All right. The motion as stated. All right. Hearing none, I believe, Craig, the motion is approved at this point, unless I'm got my Robert's Rules of Order messed up.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Well, and it was approved and the bylaws change.
Oh, that's right. So we approved the motion now, so we got to go back and approve the bylaws. Isn't that right, Mr. Weddleton? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think we approved the amendment. Now we approve the bylaws change as amended.
Okay. So do I have a motion to approve the bylaws as amended?
I think that was Chris already.
Yep.
Chris.
That's correct. I made the opening motion. Mr. Weddleton seconded me. Then he went on to his amendment.
Okay. And so at this point, I got lost a little bit. So, yeah, here, Craig, where are we at? So we approved the amendment. Now we go back and approve the
Original motion.
the original motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Overarching motion. Okay. I would move to approve the overarching motion.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, there's already a motion on the floor to approve the overarching amendment.
Oh, you do. Okay. We have a second. That's correct.
Yep.
That was Mr. Weddleton.
Okay. So
We're ready to call the question.
Okay. Now are there any objections to approving the overall? Correct? Is that correct? Okay. All right, hearing no objections, the motion is a. I think we got that right. Craig, I don't think we're going to beat the TAC committee on that 1 hour time clock. Sorry.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Craig, are there any other action items before we move on to 6A?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Item to 6A, the 2040 MTP update. Craig, will you give us a rundown on this?
I think Aaron is ready to, or hopefully ready to provide us an update on the 2040 MTP. I think we're just trying to finish some final edits before we can print it, but he's still muted. There we go.
Yeah, I'm here. I just want to let everyone know that we did, since we got final approval by FHWA and FTA, the 2040 MTP is completed. So it's a sigh of relief. It is on the AMATS website. You have the full document you can download, or you can download it by individual chapters. I just want to let everyone know I am printing about 100 copies of it. So if you would like a hard copy of the document, can you please email Craig or myself and let us know how many copies you want? And I can make sure to get that to you as soon as they are done. They are pretty large documents. They're about 300 pages, so just kind of remember that. And that's all I had for the 2040. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Aaron. Are there any questions or comments from the committee on the 2040 MTP update?
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right. Any comments from the public? Again, 3 minutes. And Aaron, you let me know when you think it's appropriate to move forward.
No questions have been submitted for this item.
Okay, moving on to item 6B, the 2050 MTP update. Craig, you want to give us a rundown on that, please?
Aaron will, since he's running.
Hi, everyone. This is Aaron, the AMATS Senior Planner again. I will be the project manager for the 2050 MTP update, so I'm very excited for that. I know I have big shoes to fill after Vivian did her part on the 2040, so we'll see how it goes, but I just finished the scope of work, sent it out to the project team to get their comments on it, so thank you for everyone who provided comments. I'm hoping to submit the RFP next week. And then get started, as the time for the 2050 MTP is already starting to tick down. So we must have an approved air quality conformity determination by August 26th of 2024. So we don't have a whole lot of time to waste. And I did want to let everyone know I am bringing a resolution to the TAC and Policy Committee next month that gives the parameters for the update of the 2050 MTP. So pretty similar to what we did to the 2040 MTP. So I'm working on that resolution right now and bring it to the TAC next month and then to the Policy Committee. So yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Aaron. Any questions or comments from the committee on the 2050 MTP update? Project Manager Aaron Yanganella.
Mr. Chairman, this is. Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Whittleton.
Okay, thanks. So, Aaron, when we finished the 2040 and the public comments, there were quite a number that were kind of not considered for changes because we were so far along in the process. Are those comments going to be kind of included as a starting point for the 2050?
Yes, so as part of the resolution in there, especially for the goals and objectives, I put in there that any comments that are carried forward from the 2040 are to be considered as part of the 2050 update. When it comes to comments related to the projects, that'll be handled as part of the project process when we get to it for the 2050 update.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Mr. Sheedy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mine's less of a substantive question like Mr. Weddleton and more of just a comment that I'm thrilled that Aaron is filling Vivian's shoes. I've got a lot of faith in his ability, and I'm still to this day thrilled that I stole him from you. So thank you.
And we feel slighted over here at DOT, so we appreciate your recognition of that. Okay, great. Okay, any other comments or questions from the committee before we go to the public comments? All right, Aaron, we'll move on to any comments from the public. Again, 3 minutes to speak. Aaron, let me know when time has passed.
No comments have been submitted on Teams Live. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Okay, we're going to move on to general information on the agenda. So for item number 8, does anybody from the committee have any comments to add to today's meeting?
This is Ms. Zalatel.
Yes, Ms. Zalatel, go ahead.
Thank you. I had emailed Mr. Lyon and wanted to have in the future perhaps a discussion if there have been any or if there are any anticipated issues from with regards to federal transportation dollars due to COVID-19 and some of the federal relief that has been administered, if we were foreseeing any cuts or any concerns there. So I just wanted to put that on folks' radar. Maybe we could talk about that as we kind of continue to move through the COVID crisis. Thank you.
No worries. I believe Mr. Van Hove, you're on the line. Do you want to just briefly comment where you think if there are any impacts to COVID on the federal funding streams?
Yes, this is Todd Van Hove, Chief of Planning for Central Region. I think that, well, to answer your question, as far as COVID, we have received some additional funding statewide, but not necessarily in relation to transportation. But as far as the transportation program itself goes for the state of Alaska, we have in fact obligated more than we have in typical past years. As a matter of fact, we're finishing up obligation for this year. We have obligated $700 million in funding for FY20. That includes regular program funds, as well as that is actually in excess of our normal regular program funds, and we can do that because the feds had rescinded a rescission, and then we got a large surplus in August redistribution as well, and so. As far as FY20 goes, we've actually done quite well. I think because of COVID is why the redistribution was more than it's been in past years. And to that point, they have discussed reauthorization. The reauthorization is drafted in Congress already, and it proposes a 42% increase for the next 4 years of the transportation bill, if it ever passes. And lastly, I would say that we're currently on a 1-year FAST Act extension, and we are receiving funding through continuing resolutions. That's about all I have. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. That's very helpful. May I ask a follow-up question?
Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
Mrs. Zalatel.
Thank you. Are there any concerns from the state level about finding any required matching funding in state dollars with regard to federal projects moving forward? I'm just trying to get a temperature kind of each level of funding as we've seen things shift around due to various programs and impacts of COVID.
Mr. Van Hove, can you comment on that as well?
I can. We actually, of course, we don't know, but we have actually asked for and received an increase for FY20. You know, we're asking for it right now, and we're asking for the same amount for next year. So that's an interesting question, and your timing is good because, you know, we'll be going through that for the budget scenarios that are starting now and go through the end of this fall and into the beginning of next year for the governor's budget. But to your point, we are asking for at least the same amount that we have asked for in the past. I'm sorry, this past year, and we're not hearing any pushback yet.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Todd. Thank you, Ms. Zalatel. Any other questions or comments for the good of all for under general information? Okay, as the committee has no comments to offer, we're going to go on to item number 9, public comment. Are there any comments from the public? And again, Aaron, I will let you be the fair broker on the time clock on this one.
No comments have been submitted on Teams Live. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Aaron. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Chris Schutte. I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Schutte. Do you have a second?
Second, Cindy Heil.
Thank you, Cindy. Any objections to approving the motion? Hearing none, the motion approved. Everybody have a great, wonderful, safe month, and we'll see you all in October.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.